Oh, there we go. Moto Monday number 97. Some return guests. How's it going, guys?
Hi.
Excellent.
Excellent. So this is my dad. Well, we didn't get you into the title. I'll fix that afterwards. Keith Wharton and Sabrina Berry. I'm not really sure how to introduce you. Maybe most people know you as the starter for the PRO series. Is that your most significant title?
Probably just gate crew for most series in the Washington State.
No slapping the table if we can. I'm going to give you a hard time because we just talked about it 60 seconds ago. So yeah, we got you back on because your podcast got cut a little short when we had you on, and I told you we'd do it again. So here we go. We're doing it again. We had some technical difficulties. I'd like to say that we've been on a pretty good streak, keeping everything going, you know? So yeah, number 97, and all three of us went out and did that ridiculous 24-hour ride at Riverdale last week.
Mm-hmm.
You hit the ground.
Yes, I did.
How was that?
It was night ending. Ended my evening.
I gotta say, I'm just excited to see you back on a dirt bike because you didn't. Oh man, how long did you take off, riding or racing, or especially racing? What was it, 8-9 years?
Probably, yeah.
And it was just cool to see you back on a bike riding, actually ripping it up, going out there messing with Reese. When we got into the whole night riding thing though, that's the part where I was like, oh, this is gonna be sketchy. And sure enough,
it was.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
See, you missed out on the 3 a.m. ride though, when the track, all the moisture came up. Sabrina was sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
I think she kind of just went out wide open and...
Well, I didn't plan to even ride throughout the night. So I went out in the dark for as long as I could see, and then I decided to stop riding and took a nap until it was light out again.
Yeah, 8-hour nap. Yeah.
8-hour nap, yep.
When it got about to midnight, 1 or something like that, all the moisture comes up through in the ground, and it got slick. And they didn't groom the tracks, which Dan asked, and I felt really bad to have him go groom all the tracks just for a few guys to play on their pit bikes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But hindsight, maybe I should have flipped him a couple bucks. Could we groom those? Because they were brutal, especially at night. It's hard to see. I mean, you saw my light setup; it was a little homemade, but we did it. It was just a little gnarly. The night part was a little gnarly. I'm glad we got it out of the way first, though, instead of saving it till the end of the whole ride when we're all tired.
Yeah. That rut that I went into, front wheel only, was way too deep.
I'd like to clarify, I never saw that rut at all the whole night, but I knew it was there from riding in the daytime, so I avoided it, but you could not see it.
I never saw it at all.
You could not see that
Only
rut.
when I was getting up, I saw
to be
it.
fair, I don't think you rode on that track during the day.
No, I never seen that track till it was pitch black.
Yeah, and then you decided to go out there, and just the first thing you did was hit the main line, which was where the rut was. And so, of course, you went on the main line where it feels most comfortable, and there was a rut there, and you just totally went out of it because you didn't realize there was something there.
Yep. That's kind of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, you got up.
I missed it a few times, but yeah, I got up and stuff, but I ran the numbers and decided how far it was to my bed, and I decided it was time to load the bike and leave.
Yeah. You weren't going to pull an all-nighter like us, which Bob did not leave until about 1 a.m. Bob McAllister then went home, took a shower, and went to work at 3:30 and was climbing cell towers that day.
He
Bob...
never went to bed.
Yeah, he never went to bed, and he's 57, I think. Bob, what you doing, buddy? Don't fall off the cell tower.
And here I am, and I have to take a nap to do anything.
You took 2 naps. You took your 8-hour nap, and I think you took another nap.
I did. I have to sleep through all things. I have to sleep. Can't do it.
But you did put in some laps. How many did you do? We got you marked down, I think, 135.
Yeah, we had it at 135, but I did a little bit more than that. I didn't keep track of the last ones that I did. Plus, I didn't keep track of any of the ones I did on the scooter or any of the ones I did in the water truck. So
I don't think the water truck counts.
Okay, well, the scooter definitely counts because it took me 6 minutes to do 1 lap. which on a dirt bike should take like a minute and a half. So
Were you still riding when she hopped on the scooter?
I never saw it, so I guess not.
So
Well, yeah, I mean, I quit riding at pitch black, so.
Well, okay. So around that time, she quit and whatever. Okay, Sabrina's done. She doesn't have a light. You know, some of us didn't have lights. And so I'm riding around and suddenly I come up on a very faint light. Like, who's this? That's Sabrina on an electric scooter. Along the track. She grabbed my electric scooter, found out how to turn the headlight on, and was mobbing around the track on the scooter.
I had to run that thing up most of the jumps. I literally like ran it up to try to get it up everything. It was crazy. Well, then I found out I was on the low setting because there's two settings. There's like slow and then there's fast. And I was on the slow setting for a couple laps. So then I decided to put it on the fast. And then I was able to make it up, and I only had to like put my foot down a couple times. But in the first couple laps, I actually had to run it up all the jumps because I just couldn't make it.
Yeah, there was
slow.
2 settings.
I didn't know that.
No one really showed you how to work it.
Well, I forgot. I just went out and I just forgot.
We were all laughing because like she's just out there, and you just had this huge grin on your face, just putting in laps on a scooter.
It was pretty fun actually.
It was pretty funny. I've never really tested how that would do on a track, so I think you probably the first one.
I was like jamming out. I really was. It was fun.
Yeah, we survived. I can say I have honestly not recovered from that because just as I was starting to feel pretty good again, I had to go do Mountain View. My phone said I did 20,000 steps. Up and down that hill, up and down that hill. Everyone kept taking my scooter, so I didn't get to use the scooter up and down the hill. And then I raced. My race did not go well whatsoever. I think I got a little too used to riding pit bikes. Something about doing it for 24 hours straight. So the big bike, I was overshooting jumps. I did the classic, what do they call it? Almost a 12 o'clocker.
Yep.
I was about a 10 o'clocker. I was about a 10 o'clocker up in the air, sitting down on the seat like I'm such a squid. And that's pretty much how I rode my 450.
I did 3 motos at PRO, and after I got in an accident, I decided, nope, can't do it no more. Too sore for this. So
yeah, you put in some rides.
I did. I did a little bit. I decided I was gonna go ride the weekend, 2 days in a row at PRO, Horn Rapids, and I wasn't expecting to crash, but I did, and I just after that, nope, couldn't do it anymore. Like, nah, I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm still working on 100% recovery. I did 278, and I'm tired. I didn't realize it as much until I really got some sleep, and then I was like, oh boy, yeah, I was tired.
Yeah, that was twice what I did. And with the amount of sleep I got and everything else, like your variables was way different. So.
And I'm on a pit bike. Those little pit bikes were not fun. They're like, a few laps, yeah, they're a blast, but after a few hours, like, oh, these little things suck. You feel every bump and every rut, and you're cramped. And that was the other thing, like you're in this cramped over position. I never even really thought about it.
Yeah.
but your back starts hurting being in that weird riding position. You ever had that?
Yep.
Yeah, just yep.
Yeah. I mean, after not being on a bike since last year when I rode that pit bike race.
Mini bike national.
Our mini bike thing. Actually, I went out with you one day at Horn Rapids.
Oh, we did get a ride for a little bit, yeah.
Rode those, whatever those were called, those one weird bikes that,
the CR250?
Off-brand stuff.
Hondas? Yeah.
Yeah, and that was fun. But yeah, no, wasn't really planning on riding either. Just kind of happened.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting you to come out and ride with us. I didn't expect half the people that showed up. Definitely not Jeremiah to show up with a TTR 125. Jeremiah Foltz is a savage. What's his number?
He is 164.
Yeah, Jer Bear got 164.
Okay, hold up. Why is his name Jer Bear on the board?
Because it just
Who
goes
wrote
together.
that? Who wrote Jer Bear?
Me, of course, me. I feel like Jer Bear is appropriate for him.
Didn't we always call him Maya or something?
Yeah,
no, it's
Maya.
Jer Bear.
Back in the days when he fixed lights.
Oh yeah, Trail Tech days, back when he worked at Trail Tech, yeah. So Jeremiah Foltz, formerly of Trail Tech, formerly of Two Stroke Revolution, formerly of Gresham Power Sports, now over at Moto, did over 160 laps on his daughter's TTR 125, and he went and raced PIR the next day. That's beast mode. That's giving 110%. Dude, I tip my hat to you, sir. That was savage.
I was definitely beat up for a Saturday race. That's for sure. To go out on a Thursday was just, that's crazy. And he did 50 more laps than I did. No,
yeah.
No, 30 more laps.
30 something, yeah.
30 more laps than I did. And he went out the next day. I could have not done that.
But I'd do it again on a pit bike. You guys got to back me up on this one. Aren't pit bikes just too much fun to give up?
Yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
I have my own pit bike, and
you still do.
I do. Yeah.
Now,
all of my life, I wanted a motor on my BMX bike.
That's kind of like what these are.
Mm-hmm.
You have to ride them like a BMX bike. There's people who are always like, oh, you always talk about pit bikes stuff. Like, you don't know how fun they are. I don't know if they get it.
Well, you either get it or you don't. I guess it's either fun or it's not. I live on a golf course.
Have you ridden on it though?
No, but I've also never golfed a day in my life. It doesn't interest me in the least. And people tell me how fun it is, and I say, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, it's not a big draw for me either. Which, okay, yeah, we like our different things maybe than a lot of people. But if someone were to just come up to you, a rider, someone from the track, but never ridden a pit bike, what would you tell them? Why is a pit bike fun? Because they don't seem to get it sometimes.
Because it's everything's a challenge again. It's an equalizer. It's doesn't matter if you win. Doesn't matter if your gear matches. Start is irrelevant. And it's just I don't know, it's just like goofing around when why I like motorcycles in general is fun. That's part of why I don't race them really anymore. They're fun to me. They're fun to me to look at and stuff, and they're fun to me to ride. If they're fun to ride, I mean, some of the best days of my entire life on a motorcycle were on like XR200s or on, it sounds horrible, but the day you got lost out in Bend years ago.
Here we go.
I had a great ride on your mom's KX100. And I was like, that is so fun. I ended up flogging that KX100 many times after that, going, I can't believe how much fun I just had, even though I'm supposed to be looking for my child.
For those who don't know, when I was little, I got lost for pretty much all day out in Bend, Oregon at like 10, 11 years old. And and I did the full panic, full throttle, ended up 20 miles away on an XR80 or whatever I had.
Yeah, you made no tracks whatsoever because you were so light. And you weren't really spinning the wheels, so we really couldn't find you. We looked all over.
Did you happen to see I bought another XR80?
No.
Did you see the bikes out front?
I did, but I just kind of glanced over them.
I have an XR80, XR100, and an XR200 I just bought today, sitting out front.
Nice.
Ready, and they're all vintage legal. We're going to do some vintage racing. We're going to do some vintage racing. Here's why I like pit bikes. It's a little more laid back. The people are you can only take it so serious when you're on a kid's bike. I know some people still can, but in general, I feel like it's more laid back. Like you said, it's an equalizer. A OK Junior can suddenly battle with a pro on stock 110s and be on him. It really, I think, brings it together skill wise. And I don't know, there's something just absolute blast about riding a bike wide open, stretching the throttle cable.
Yeah, and you remember all the fundamental things about how to enter a corner, how to get out of it. It all becomes important again, where it's completely irrelevant on a big bike sometimes.
Especially like a 450, a modern day 450.
Yeah, you can essentially end up in the wrong gear, miss a corner, come to a complete stop, and still make the double.
Yeah.
And not even have to worry about finding speed. Where these things, you got to find the speed by momentum, and you got to keep it on. And then you go, man, I'm going too fast. I'm just going to drag my foot, and it's just a blast.
Yeah.
And even if the bike dies and you don't even finish your race, it's still fun, because turns out you're done caring about who wins the junior class.
Would you agree with all this, Sabrina? You're awfully quiet over there.
No, I agree. I'm just listening to him because I totally agree. There was one race at Riverdale where me and Reese were battling it out for a while, and we came up and over the finish line jump, and all of a sudden my brake locked up. Like, I don't know what happened. Something got in the middle of it, and it just stopped me, and I just like blipped. It was like on my pit bike, just on my face. And I still had a blast. I cut the track like way terribly bad just to catch back up because...
Good job. You just admitted on this podcast you cut the track.
On getting last place and cheating to get last place. So...
Oh, that's fair.
Well, last year, speaking of that, if anybody watched the National that was on Saturday, there was a little bit of discussion afterwards about cutting the track.
Oh, it got into more than just discussion now. It's still going.
Okay, but I mean, last year at the Mini Bike National thing that you put on, the first corner in that stock 110 class, I cut the front, and I'll openly admit it because it's pit bikes. I cut the first corner by 25 feet and Dwayne was inside of me by an arm's length. And there was other people there too. And the guys that went on the outside, they didn't get mad. They just went, I should have thought of that, And at the end of the day, I mean, I just think about that. I mean, that was an absolute blast. Dwayne and I were way inside that barrel laughing. And had we both went down in a mud bog, it wouldn't have mattered. We'd still have got up thinking that was hilarious. It was just as fun getting through the corner as if we had not. And I don't know, I like it. I still like to take my 20-inch BMX bikes, that I've had all my life out and ride them in the driveway. And I just love it. I know that there's better bicycles built right now, and I know there's better, but I just love these. Yeah. Just absolutely love it. I had to pull over our first laps. If you see on this board, I have only 2 laps my first session. That's because...
and I recorded those for you.
Oh, thanks. There was so much SC1 on that bike that I couldn't even stay on. And tires were flat and, and that's what I like about them. None of that even matters. You just roll it out and you just go. And if you pull over, because I pulled over, I was like, man, this thing won't even run. Well, I had the choke on. I didn't know which way on that flat slide, what was choke, what was off choke.
Oh yeah, a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing was running horribly, and so you just pull off, and I covered it in dirt with to get the SC1 off. And
wait! You literally just scooped some dirt.
I literally just pulled over and started scooping dirt because every time I gassed that thing, it'd slide off the back.
I'm sorry, I might have put a little bit of SC1 on there.
And. I don't know, and you do that and it doesn't even matter. That's what I like about them. You could do that in the middle of a race and you'd be fine. That's the part I like.
I kind of like passing big bikes on my 110. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of fun, although some guys get a little racy with you and they start nudging you off the track, especially on a straightaway when they know, oh, he's got 6 horsepower. Let's just, But it's kind of fun, and it's a whole different challenge because you have to literally go wide open sometimes.
But you can, on an inside corner, like, a couple times I was goofing around out there with Reese, and, honestly, on that 110, I could have stuffed him so hard, and I could have just stepped off and he was all wrapped up in 200 pounds of motorcycle, but you don't, obviously.
Well, that's
but
one thing. Yeah, you can take inside so fast on a little bike.
you just
More control.
the same
Except maybe
speed.
you're 50, Sabrina.
No, mine has a 10-inch wheel. No.
So she has a Super Pro with SP5s and 1010 wheels.
Yeah.
And so it's tall, but it's still kind of short, and it's twitchy.
It's so scary to ride.
It's a little
Scariest thing
twitchy.
ever. You can't ride it with riding boots. My riding boots are like past the seat when I sit on it. It's crazy.
I think it only
really?
has the +3 swinger. So it's very tall, but still short, and it's got
Super fast though.
Yeah, it's got a BBR built engine. I forget what size.
150.
Well,
what frame is it?
The old school Super Pro. So the single spar aluminum.
Yeah.
The first BBR aluminum frame before they went to the.
When you could buy them through Tucker Rocky.
Yeah, they had them for years actually, even when they had the perimeters. So I think they were like a +1, maybe. I don't remember exactly, but. Yeah, so she has basically, imagine the old school Kyle Cohen 2003 type of bike.
Now you just said that. Was that Kyle Cohen in the outfit last year?
What outfit?
Or you just posted last week, you had posted, your mom showed me something on Facebook about a kid that you were like, who named this rider?
Oh, the one that was wearing the girl clothes?
Was that the guy you ran over the foot? Was I right? Took over insane terrain? Who was that?
You just named 3 different people. Those 3 totally different people. The person I ran over the foot. Come on, think back. Whose foot did I run over? He went on to win 2 Mini Moto SX championships.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I thought it was the same kid that
He raced Pierrot last year. Sabrina.
Oh, was it
What class?
Pro. 250, 450 Pro. We always joke about how he can race 4 different classes.
I don't know, son. You got to work
Brown?
with us
No.
here.
Brown?
He didn't finish.
No, it wasn't Brown.
Kirkland was the only one that finished last year. I
No,
think.
not the whole series. He did just a few here and there.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Rides a Husqvarna. All black Fox gear.
Nobody got it, so let it out of the bag.
it's not.
You remember, we've talked to him before. Because he was part of the, what was the group over in the Tri-Cities?
Oh, was it Brad? Brad Noddet?
Brad Noddet.
Not it?
I ran over Brad Noddet's foot.
Oh, is that who it
He
was?
was on a Honda last year.
Actually, I think he had both. I think it was the Husky 250, Honda 450. I don't remember for sure.
I don't think he was on a Husky. I think he was on a Honda.
I seem to remember his Husky. I don't know. Maybe he'll jump on.
I don't know.
But anyways, that was Noddet's foot that I ran over. And what was the other things you said?
The kid that took over insane terrain.
Meisner?
No, after Meisner.
Oh, Trevor Krogh.
Trevor Krogh. And
died in the
died,
accident.
Died in the accident soon after. I thought it was Trevor.
No, that rider in that picture that went out. Oh, I hope I'm not wrong on this. I'm pretty confident though. But he went out to a car, and I think somebody there had some like Goodwill clothes they were taking there or something, and got dressed up in like a lingerie top and all that kind of stuff. Was Anthony Cerruti.
That was Anthony? Okay.
Old 383, Anthony Cerruti.
It was a number 5 on the bike.
Well, it's pit bikes. You never know what
Douglas
you're
said
going to
it was Honda.
So, number one thing about the 24...
well, that's not it. Nada is 622.
Yeah.
We're talking about Nada, yes.
Yeah. When you said...
We're already past Nada. Yes, we know.
I
Brad
just
Nada,
wanted to
I
go
ran
back-
over
I
his
just wanted
foot.
to point
I
out I
have
was
apologized about 10 times to him for that and everybody else. Yes, I am sorry. I went for a pass on Brad Nada. I ran over his foot. I don't remember if I broke it or not, but I felt like I might have aggressively ran over his foot. But, pit bikes, you stick your foot out in a corner.
Mhm.
It happens.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to run over his foot.
I never really struggled with that year at that race.
How'd it go for you, Dad?
I won everything, remember? I had the Polini. It didn't matter if I got a start or not.
So we had back in the day.
I won everything by a mile. As long as there was a straightaway, I could win.
We had this Logan built. We had a Logan built, 138?
It was something
with a custom head.
Stupid.
It only had about a 10-hour engine life, and then we had to rebuild it. We found out if you hit 12 hours, it's done.
Yeah.
But it was stupid fast.
It was the ultimate cubic dollars winning races.
Yeah, that was one fast little engine for a 10-inch wheeled bike. Yeah, you kind of just, what you do, this is how you ride it. You point it where you want to go, grab the bike with your legs, pucker, drop the clutch, and just let it rock it. And just try to keep it stabilized going forward. And that, man. Yeah, that thing was fast. And you know, Joel still has that. Our buddy Joel Sterling has that engine.
Nice.
But anyways, where were we going with the pit bike talk? We were talking about that was the first ever Northwest Mini Bike National.
Yeah, that was
2006.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Sabrina, what were you doing in 2006?
I was 10 years old. I was probably in school. I don't know, playing soccer.
Not racing pit bikes with us.
No.
Sorry, guys. That's my phone. I'll turn it off.
That was a lot of fun.
And the pit bike scene is back bigger than ever.
We had the guy just randomly out of nowhere step up and buy 1 million pizzas for everybody riding.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah, bought pizzas for everyone in the house.
Yeah, that was like, what the heck?
That was cool, though.
It was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was...
There's a different vibe at pit bike races, and this is why I'm so down for some
And I believe
racing.
Carson couldn't touch the ground on his XR50.
Yep.
And it was just like, oh, look at how cute we can get our little son around the track.
Yep.
I mean, what a difference now.
Yeah,
Carson was a little kid.
Little tiny Carson Brown racing those XR50s. And now look at him.
Yeah, exactly.
What I was going to say, that's why I'm kind of down for this whole vintage racing thing. I went from having no vintage bikes to I now own 5. And granted, 1 runs. But it's the same kind of atmosphere. So did you see I got thrown into a vintage race?
I saw that.
I ran into the infamous Ricky Rogue, who pulled me aside. Dude, you're Justin Warden. Nice to meet you. You're racing my bike in about 10 minutes. Wow. Huh? And okay, and he just like, I'll go tell the people to sign up. I was like, it's the end of the day. He's like, oh, there's still a couple motos. We'll find a class for you. He stuck me in Evo Expert on which means up to 96. I'm on an 80 something CR with he named it Tiffany, a redhead. So it's crazy. And I'm not entirely sure, dude, if your 4th gear works or not, but it seemed rather inconsistent. Blown out rear shock. He ran his levers basically. So you know that how they say back in the day, run them like parallel with your forks or something, or you're supposed to sit on, put your hands like this. I think he put his hands curled back under the bars.
He was falling when he put them on.
I think he was doing an endo when he put the bars on or the levers on, because they were so far down. Like, I don't know if do I reach under this way? I don't know really how you reach the levers. Did last start on that sucker, but I had so much fun. And like literally I just went up to sign up. I was like, okay, so this guy said I'm racing his bike. Oh, I hope you don't die. Thanks. She's like, and another person like, you're riding his bike?
You were the only 125 out of 250s and 500s.
Yeah, I was actually out of what, 15 guys, or how many was out there? I dead last start, I ended up getting 4th, so I was happy with that. But it was a wild ride. I was hopping all over the place. I don't think oil has been in that shock for about 3-4 years, 5-7 years. But it was a blast. And the ladies that sign up just like, oh yeah, cool, just sign here, you're good to go. Like, you're just literally 10 minutes before Moto, just let me race. Oh yeah, have fun. And then people were coming up, high-fiving me, hey, good to see you, blah, blah, blah. Half the people I didn't know, but they were just all having a good time, hanging out. And Sabrina was there. Like, they were just, it was kind of a cool crowd. And it's like, this is cool. I like this. You go to a motocross race and everyone just does their own thing. And I wish I could find a way to bring that vibe into regular motocross. So I've said it for years and I don't know how, but I've tried different things and I think it's healthier.
It is. I think most people, all they have in their minds when they're at motocross track is they want their kid to win, or they want to win, or whatever. Like, they're not thinking about just having fun. You know what I mean? And there's so many excuses with man, my start sucked because I had a flat tire. It sucked because I was last off the gate or whatever. And everybody's so concerned about how they do in their motos, but they don't think about like how they actually felt while they were out there, how much fun that they had while they were out there. I feel like that's a big thing. Like,
yeah.
And lately I've just been going out there myself and just trying to have as much fun as I can and not trying to like think about if I'm getting first or who's getting first or anything like that. I've just been going out and just having fun. And that's what I feel like most of us should do. And I feel like the more fun that you have, the better you do.
Yeah, the motocross racing clique is what's killing the local scene, in my opinion. That is what kills it. Does no one any good. Okay, so what? You won the local pro class, threw some fatty whips. No one's gonna remember your name in 3 years. I mean, not to be a dick about it, but like, doesn't mean anything. Like, enjoy your little glory from working hard at something and getting it, but it's in the big realm of things. It means next to nothing. And don't cop an attitude, be rude to people, or make demands. I mean, I've had pros come up to me and tell me I need to change my race schedule. They don't ask, which wouldn't get you anywhere anyways, but they tell me, like, they think they can demand. And it's like, no. He's like, oh, I got to get home and do something. Like, cool, I'm not changing your moto,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then once you reach past that stage, like myself, if I went to a Thursday night right now, I would have fun at practice. I'd probably do my first moto and I'd go home.
That's what your brother does. Completely
satisfied. Because unfortunately, what 99% of people forget, you can just go to, even take it to the ultimate pro level, go to the highest pros, look at their pay grades, start working backwards. If you're not doing this because you absolutely love it and it's for you, it's kind of not worth doing. I mean, you could go to Clark College for a year, and squeak out 2 years to get an AA and make a lot more money, and then ride this thing the rest of your life for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if there was a way that I could sign up and actually I live at Horn Rapids, maybe nobody knows that, but I live literally across the street from Horn Rapids. I hear the thing every morning. I used to text Brian Barnes and be like, dude, be quiet. I'm in the hot tub. I got to listen to you do the prayer, in the Brian Barnes way that he does the prayer. And, but I don't go because I'm not giving up all day. But if they would offer, now this is a whole nother thing about the vet guys. If I could pay $10, ride 2 laps of 2 practice sessions and go home, I'd do it every week.
Yeah.
Every week. And I would be smiling all the way home.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like as working for a couple series in Washington State, the most that I notice is that it's always like you get...
Go ahead.
You get into the junior classes from like 65s to like 85s, all those kids that are in those classes, or even sometimes the 250s.
Closer to the mic if I could. There you go.
Let's say 65 juniors to 250 juniors. Most of those kids are anywhere from like, I don't know, like 7 to 16, that their parents are just like, you have to be in a certain place all the time, and they're just so concerned about what their kid does, what they're doing. They have to have a good whole shot start, whatever you want to call it. But then you get into like the 25 plus sportsman class, or you get into even the like 50 relic class that we have. Sorry, I keep hitting the table. Anyways, and I feel like
50 relic, I like that.
We have a 50 relic class, and I feel like those are the best people. They don't care what gate pick they have. They don't care. They just show up when they need to be there, and they have a good time. You know what I mean? And even the 25 plus A class, they don't care what gate pick they have. They are there to have a good time. And I feel like that's where we should be at. Everybody should have that same mentality. I mean, if your kid's racing, you should push them to just let them know, have fun with it. Because I feel like if you're a good enough rider, like the better you do, the more fun that you have for yourself. I feel like you shouldn't feel like you have to prove anything to anybody else but yourself. And that's where it is.
Well,
just go out there and push yourself for yourself.
Yeah, I like competition. I like pushing yourself, but I don't think you should take it so far that it's no longer fun.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You should go and have fun for yourself. You shouldn't do it you shouldn't push it because there's money online, or you should at a certain point, but you shouldn't do it because that's the only thing, or you know what I mean? Like, you should do it for yourself, just to have fun. And that's what it should be about, and that's what that vintage racing is all about. It's to go out and just have some fun and just be around people you can go talk to and be friends with, no matter what. Just everybody accepts you no matter what level you're at. And I feel like motocross should be that way, but I mean, you have like these pro riders that go up and talk to these juniors or beginner riders, and there's just nobody clicks with each other because they have different levels of, like, these beginner riders, junior riders, whatever, having fun, and these pro riders are doing it because they want money out of it, or you know what I mean? It's like, it's a little bit different. So
yeah.
And I see this from working at the line. Like, I see the different attitudes that come with the people who come to the gate. And I'm telling you that I see even like I say like the 30 plus and 40 plus and the 25 plus classes for like the pro classes, because we do pay at PRO for those classes. And I'm telling you, like, no matter how many are in that class, they still show up to have fun. They don't show up to make money. I can tell you that their attitude is completely different, and the way that they approach each other, and they're always Rick Smith, I want to say, like, bravo to him for pulling off the track when Steffi went down and making sure that he was okay, because that was a money race and he was out there for money. They were both out there for money.
Scott Steffi.
Scott crashed.
Oh,
he crashed
nice.
hard, and he pulled off for him because, I mean, they were racing for money, and one of them was going to get first place. But at that point, like, it's no longer fun when you're concerned. You're thinking about somebody that just went down. Yeah. And you know what I mean? You're their friend and you want to make sure that they're okay. It's not fun for you anymore.
Yeah.
So, and he just instantly pulled off the track and just made sure that he was okay, you know, and just made sure nobody was going to hit him or anything else. And I feel like that's real racing. It shouldn't just be about yourself.
Agree?
I agree. Yeah, I just was thinking of Scott. Dang.
Scott Steffi from the old Casilla days.
It doesn't sound like he ever crashes, but you know, there are sometimes you just don't expect it, and sometimes
that guy. You know, one thing that always I remember about him was, you remember when the Arena Cross Series would come through years ago, and you know that guy was on a KTM way before it was cool. He rode a KTM, you know, at the no linkage years and all of that, a 125, I think, and did all right. Actually hung it out, I think, number 2 in the point series that year for that early Arena Cross thing.
Yeah, what was it?
You know, the track was literally a phone booth at that time.
Yeah, what did they call it?
And you could go in and
oil.
You could go in and, you know, then they would have a huge amateur day the following day, or even that night. And when you went to Memorial Coliseum to see that, you saw the local guys. You know, they'd run all the stuff and the big boys, the guys that traveled too. Mm-hmm. And that was, again, that's a whole nother reason why I think it may be a success to start having more of these sort of, I guess, what do they call it now? They don't have the amateur days, but they have those few rounds of Supercross where you get a ride on Sunday.
Supercross Futures, I think.
The Futures, yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, that's going to get more people riding and more people interested in the in that end of it. But that was fun back then to see that. But I remember Scott riding, you know, a KTM that was clearly in those years, that was clearly a woods bike. That was an off-road motorcycle that he was.
Lance Smale sure found out how to ride one.
Right, but they were riding off-road motorcycles, raked weird, you know, and you know they weren't even super modding out all the steering and stuff, and they were turning a KTM, essentially. You know, it was irrelevant that the bike had no head shake on a supercross track.
Yeah.
You know, it meant a lot on a GNCC or a reliability enduro or desert race. Kind of irrelevant in supercross. And, you know, it was nice in motocross, but for some reason they couldn't.
KTM had an interesting path to get to where they are now. You know, interesting little path.
And I would have to assume a lot happened in those few months that Jeremy McGrath rode for them. And I'm going to use, we say rode, but I essentially think he just tested for them. And how much data was gathered, you know, in that year that changed the motorcycle, but you can't just change corporate immediately.
No. And I think DeCoster was big too. Bringing him on board, you know, it was about, 2011 they started doing linkage. About that.
I don't even know.
That's when they made the big change, and then it just started getting better and better. Now, man, KTM, who would have guessed? KTM and Husqvarna, especially us, you know, I grew up with all the European bikes, and we pretty well got looked down on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everyone made fun of them. Like, oh, you don't have a Honda?
I remember.
And now KTM is literally ruling, in 2019, ruling the U.S. moto industry.
I remember being at Washougal one day when we were goofing around with the Vors. And, you know, there was so much work involved in owning those motorcycles, so much time and energy. And I remember walking up to see how I finished, and I heard them just, you know, I just kind of stayed back in the corner. I didn't say anything, but they're like, I can't believe somebody beat me on one of those Vors, you know? And it was like, oh, okay, you know, I mean, you just kind of have to let it go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were just like laughed at, but you know, those things they have to happen for things to go forward. You know, Gas came out with that fuel injection system and just absolutely ridiculed by everybody, and by Cycle News, and by, you know, all the magazines. And
Sabrina's like, what's a gas?
Now it is the standard, you know, and it's kind of interesting, you know, the dual exhaust of the Husqvarna, what was that, 99, 2000, you know, what a stupid idea. What idiot would do that? And then, you know, Honda's been in and out of it a couple times, and, you know, electric start on a motocross bike, foolish, dumb, heavy. Now, I don't know anybody that wouldn't give up a pound or two for it.
Oh, yeah. So now here comes the loaded question. Here's what you both think on this. What's next?
What's next? ABS brakes.
Really?
Yep. I think we're going to have an integrated brake ABS brake system.
But sometimes you want to lock up your brake.
I know, but look what they're doing in road racing with it.
They don't have jumps.
They don't, but you could still stomp it. You could still stomp it.
So just interesting. Okay.
I think the dirt bikes will come out with a braking system, and this is gonna sound so mean, but they're gonna come out with a squid-proof braking system for the beginner class. But it'll also make the pros go faster.
What do you think, Sabrina? What's next?
I feel like we're not maxed out, but pretty close. I feel like everything that we have right now, suspension-wise and everything else, is pretty darn good, I would say. I feel like we have pretty much got as far as we can get in certain aspects, but I don't know. I mean, we can definitely get better, but I feel like we've already done a lot to be where we are at. You know what I mean?
I have a theory.
Mm-hmm.
The CRF 480 though, or the CR 480 was as far as you could go. And it ended up being, I mean, that was unrideable. The CR 500, as far as you go horsepower wise.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying our suspension, our braking systems, our everything like that is pretty great. I think engine wise, like speed wise and everything else, like we could probably be better, but I just feel like some of our suspension and everything like that we have is, I don't want to say maxed out, but I say it's really good so far. And I mean, we can always advance in certain places.
Here's my theory. I don't know how far this will be out. Let's say 20 years. That might even be too far. Everything will be electric.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to literally have a 155-pound motorcycle capable of 90 to 100 horsepower. And I think we will have slots on the bike where we can literally add weight for when we do outdoor tracks to make the bike less twitchy, because we'll have got the weight down so much. And we'll have whatever, like a magnetic suspension, which exists. This exists today. They use it in like the off-road, what do they call the trucks? The Baja trucks. Trucks.
Yeah.
There's Baja
free
trucks
runners and such
that have suspension that is controlled basically via computer. And I know a guy who has one made for a motorcycle, all titanium, so won't pick up the magnet, and it has a magnetic fluid in there, and you can react that. This is not my world. I'm sorry if I'm butchering some of this, guys. I know there's some nerds probably watching that's going to be like, that's wrong. I get it. Not my world. But basically, how it has a different valve in there that you can control electrically, or how much of a magnetic pull for how the suspension will work. And then I think they'll even have it smart, so it'll know to change as you ride.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time you saw Tron? It
It's been a
sounds like
while.
you're talking about the movie Tron. The bikes they ride in there.
It exists. That technology exists and is being used.
But but they'll do ABS first.
Okay, maybe they'll have ABS.
Honda's going to come out. Honda's going to come out because physically we've hit a major change physically in the bodies of the people racing. I mean, are we going to see any race closer than 30 seconds in the Nationals? I don't know. You know, I mean, you got one guy way out. The physically superior are just boom and going way out. But you know, what is the thing you keep hearing over and over again on any simulcast, any race you watch, any announcer? Oh, he was late on the brakes. He stayed off the brakes a little longer. Look at the way they brought it up, like Grant brought it up like three or four times, how in the first Moto at Colorado that Ken Roczen came down the hill and waited to get on the brakes. If you could wait even longer to get on the brakes, I mean, and you could think about what our cars can do now. Those of us that have driven cars without this stuff are simply we're almost scared of it, how good brakes are now, you know. And I almost think the horsepower's there, everything's there, but suspension's amazing. But braking is still an issue of human error.
Yeah.
Well, what about the electric, though? I threw that in there.
I don't think the electric's anywhere close. Personally, I don't think electric's close.
You agree?
No. Okay, so what I was saying about the electric, because I was thinking of electric start. So how long have we had electric start for? Like since...
Well, on modern Japanese bikes or in existence on any dirt bike? Because it's been around on dirt bikes for a long time.
It's been around for a long time, and we're just...
2001.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. So, and we are starting to put it into the newer stuff, and I know I ride a Kawasaki, and the Kawasaki's are supposed to have it in 2020 on the 250s, right? So, but I mean, we've had it for so long, we're finally just starting to put it on what we ride, like what everybody rides. So, I mean, as far as what your dad's saying with the braking situation, like, I feel like that is a good place to start for that, you know what I mean? But it takes a while to get there, obviously, but I feel like we have that technology and we just wait to put it because we're running out of like new ideas. We're running out of things to put.
Yes, which is also, I think, we're going to have a new company come up. That's not the Japanese, not KTM, that will do this electric. Alta, too soon, didn't have the tech, failed. It's too soon. Something like Tesla. Sorry. Look what Tesla is doing with cars. Do you know what a 2017 or 18 Tesla, like the 100 or 1000 or whatever, does? 2.3 for 0 to 60. It will 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds stock.
Yeah, and I'm amazed at how the market has responded to that, because I see them everywhere. Those things, I mean, they're a lot of money.
They're a lot of money, and they're not honestly there yet. The Teslas, I think the biggest thing holding back electric technology is the battery. It's the battery, getting something that will last. That what Alta's lasted less than an hour, and a good, a good maybe 300 miles on a Tesla if you do not hit the ludicrous mode, which is where you go really, really fast, you know, and then good luck on whatever you get. And then it takes forever to charge. I think the battery technology was holding us back, but we'll figure it out. I mean, we've figured out what in 30 years, like, I think once they get that, there's going to be someone pop up that's just like, oh, you guys make dirt bikes? Hold my beer. Like Tesla did to cars.
Yeah, but it might take longer than the car people because
smaller market, though.
The smaller market, but the person who we are that likes off-roading, and I'm going to use off-roading instead of motocross. It may be Italy, but how do you sell that to a guy who still wants to lift his truck the minute he buys it?
Bold new graphics. BNG.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, if any electric motorcycle manufacturer needs an in-house graphic designer, I will move to Italy.
I mean, I would love it. I would love to see. I was so bummed to hear about Alta. I mean, I thought that was really cool. And but I mean, I would say 75 to 80% of the people that ride, especially off-road motorcycles, do it as much for the garage experience as they do for the actual riding experience. You take that away from me and it becomes my golf cart, I'm maybe not into it anymore.
Laptop, plug in a USB cable and start tuning all the power.
I'm not a USB guy.
You're not, but this is not. It's going to be 15 years, 20 years out.
Okay, but
you also couldn't. You still can't really type.
That's true. I don't type.
I feel like I understand what he's saying. Like, you take away like the experience of being able to, let's say, the noise. All those,
and I don't disagree with that. Honestly, it would be weird to lose noise. That. Like that's like part of what gets your adrenaline going.
Shifting.
I know you'd lose shifting. Oh, weren't the Altas automatic?
They're just straight. You just gun it and go. But I'm saying, like, on a regular dirt bike, when you shift your bike and you can feel that just power just like forward, you don't get that on an Alta. You just hit it and you go. And I feel like that's something.
I would still, though, honestly, if I could find an Alta right now, I would love to have one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would dearly love to play with it.
But
again, I'd go
something that you would go and buy because they're so expensive, and you like to have the feeling of what you have.
You know, I buy a bike. If I was to go tomorrow, pick a bike, doesn't matter. You know, let's say I go tomorrow and buy the 2020 Suzuki. The first thing I'm doing is tearing it completely apart. Completely apart. Even though, you know, they do their stuff and the shop did their PDI and all of that. I still want to take it completely apart. I want to know everything about it. I want to grease every bearing. I want to touch every bolt.
I don't.
And I know you don't. And that's been something that we've disagreed with for 100 years. I'm amazed that you can ride a motorcycle and I want to thank you for letting me get a motorcycle ahead of the mini bike national this year, because I've been through it top to bottom, and I got to know everything about what I'm playing with. And
what's Sabrina?
I'm like on both of your guys' side, because when I bought a brand new motorcycle, I didn't go through it. The only thing I did was the heat cycles.
You're a girl, though. You don't know how to work on bikes.
I bought a 2006.
Dustin wants beat up. Anybody wants to join me? We're beating him up later.
You remember in 2006?
9 o'clock. Be here.
2006 YZ250Fs. The valves were breaking off at the neck. You remember that?
Yes.
Day you bought them, warranted. I didn't take mine or yours back for warranty, because I need to do that myself. And that's where I may not, the shop at the time's like, yeah, we can't really do that. We can't just give you the parts.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how about you pretend like you give me the parts, and I just walk out the door, because I don't want you to do it. I want to do it myself. And I think of it, just, I can't not, I took my 1968 bike, that my YGT80, apart just recently, because I haven't had it apart for a while. I wanted to make sure it was all good to go. And during that, I discovered the tires are no good, because they're from 1968. So I have to find tires for it. But the point being is, that is, even though you brought up earlier that I'm not racing, I'm not riding a lot, but my garage is full of motorcycles that I'm working on. I was working yesterday on something for my grandkids that I'm putting together for them, an ATV, and getting creative and fiddling with this and fiddling with that and putting this on something that doesn't belong on here. And that's 99% of why I love motorcycles, is to touch them.
Yeah.
Riding them is a bonus, but
pit bikes are perfect for you, because what's the rule? 3 hours of working on them for 1 hour of ride time?
Yeah.
Well, all I was saying was, the reason why I agree with both of you guys is because when I bought my brand new motorcycle off the showroom floor, I did all the heat cycles on it, and I went out and I did one race on it, and I blew it up in one race. But I had the warranty on it. I had a warranty. I remember that. And I had a warranty for 30 days in the shop, because it wasn't even 30 days that I had owned the bike. And I had a really good experience with Motorsport Hillsboro, because even though I had a race in 2 weeks and they were a couple weeks out for labor and everything else, they got me my bike right away, because I had just bought it, and they knew the importance it was for me to race it in the series that I was in lead for the points. And I mean, I didn't have to pay a cent. I didn't have to pay anything for them to go through and fix it all for me. And I've put 50 hours on it or plus or whatever, and I haven't had no other problems with it since then. Completely rebuilt. So,
well, you also ride like a girl and you stay out of the power bands. So that tends to really extend the life of an engine, right? If you never really get into the power band.
I feel like I have beat you a couple times on it already. And you talk a lot of crap with us girls about you being able to beat us on your pit bikes or whatever, but I feel like I beat you on my big bike and your pit bike. So
I only do that when I get called out.
No, I don't think so.
I only do that when I get called out.
No, because I feel like you've called me out before too, and I just...
Well, I've called you out on a ton of stuff. You're like Reese. You just kind of smile, and like I've probably challenged Reese to 500 different things. We're in a weight loss challenge right now. Why are we in a weight loss challenge? There's really no good reason for that. I mean, yeah, we could lose a couple extra winter pounds, but we're on a legit 4-week weight loss challenge, which is why intern Joe's not here, is because he's in on this, and I think he made himself sick. He couldn't show up. So I don't know. That's all in just fun. Anyways, I was checking the time. It is about time for us to wrap things up. We still got the after show, of course, but I was looking. It's been an hour.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Can you believe it's actually been an hour?
Had some good
Nice,
conversation
nice.
in an hour.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah.
anything else we need to get out of the way before we wrap this up?
We need somebody to step up for some food at the pit bike thing, August 17th. We need a food vendor up there. Do you
haven't
have
talked
one?
to me about this.
I
I
don't
might
know.
already have a food vendor.
All right, so
I might already have something.
but I think you
all
need
set
to
up.
get people that is going to be a blast, and I would certainly encourage people to get their pit bikes out. Are you going to do an XR100 style class?
Oh yeah.
'Cause
Oh yeah.
bring your son or daughter's XR80 or whatever, and I think that'd be a blast. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. It was last year.
Yeah, I plan on racing the Ricky Bobby bike out in that class. So, yep, we got that class. And maybe Sabrina will show up and race it too on her 50.
I don't know.
There's a women's class.
Oh, maybe then.
There-
But maybe not on mine. I might have to buy another one or do something else. 'Cause mine is so little. It's so hard to control and ride.
Yeah, it is a little twitchy.
It's so
cool
hard
though.
to ride.
It's got all the
It's
goodies
so
on it.
fun. It's fun.
And if I see Mike Harrelson up there next year, he is riding.
Ah, I like it.
I will pay his entry. I saw him and I was like, he never rode, but he had a bike
Yeah, we need to get him out there then.
and he had a ProTech skateboard helmet on. That's all you need.
The only thing I wanted to know is because I've been trying to figure this out since yesterday is if Colton Tennant if anybody figured out anything about him, how he's doing, if he's okay or anything about that. Because I know he got hurt, he rode an ambulance out at the track, and I never heard anything after that. We sat on the gate with those kids, red flagged, for about 30 to 45 minutes, just waiting to figure out if he was okay. And they declined an ambulance, and then they decided it was a good idea to go in an ambulance. And then after that, I have no idea what had happened. And that was it. I just wondered if he was okay.
Okay, I'm sure we'll hear a message if anyone knows.
And he's
So-
a super, super sweet kid. He really is. He's so nice. He's one of the nicest kids that comes out and just hangs out and talk your ear off all day long. Super sweet kid. So I just want to make sure he's
If
okay.
anyone knows, yeah, shoot us a message. But
Mhm.
all right, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. Fun Moto Monday, number 97. Pretty laid back, chill. We got the after show here coming up pretty soon. And hopefully Reese comes in with some fire trivia questions. We're going to be giving away some goodies. Thank you, everyone who's been watching. We are out of here, and we'll be back in about 5-10 minutes with the after show.